Well,
Oh my God.
it's funny you say that because it's challenging, but I find it to be extremely rewarding. And I think the harder the challenge, getting over that challenge, the more rewarding it is, right? And it's almost kind of why I enjoy the challenge and I enjoy the harder projects because when you get to the finish line, celebrating is that much more fun, right?
Yeah, buddy.
And
Yeah.
I know that because of sports growing up. But if it weren't for those few years in as a a field engineer, superintendent in the commercial construction industry, man, that that was tough, right? Like
Sure.
that every day was tough, right? And so I think that kind of molded me to come in and know, okay, well, if I can do that, then I can definitely handle these projects sitting in my comfortable office, going to site once a month. But it just it gave me such an appreciation for the guys in the field. And I heard Tyler talk about it, kind of how Moss is on the last episode at Field First. Man, that's my mentality as well. Because what are we, right? What are we if we're not supporting the guys in the field, right?
Right.
And making their lives as easy as possible. And yeah, it was definitely something I picked up on with my formative years at Whiting Turner, and then self-performing work at Signal, managing 150 people out on site every day. You gotta keep those guys happy because if you don't, you're gonna lose them, right? And then you don't get your project bill on.
Yeah, that's something that that didn't even register as far as your entry into project management. It's like you're not just an EPC project management or project manager. You're self perform. So you can't even
Yeah,
just say, "Hey, go handle this," like to the management of the
yeah,
mechanical team. You've got to speak with the mechanical team and keep everything running smoothly.
yep,
Oh my
yep,
god.
yeah. That
Yeah.
was though, I'll tell you, I enjoyed the self-performing of work more than subcontracting work, because, and maybe it's just me having the sports background and stuff like that, but I think the thing that I love most about what I do every day is getting to interact with people that I enjoy being with, but building teams, right? Like it's all for naught if I don't feel like there's a team mentality, that camaraderie, and maybe it's just the lack of sports. I've introduced that now to make up for it, right? But and so the self-performing side of it, that man, that checked the box, right? I absolutely loved it because we're out there at 5:30 in the morning doing stretch and flex, right? Watching the sun rise, like that is fun, man. And then when you go out and your crews bust out 150 piles in a day, one crew, man, you take them out to dinner, like that's fun, right? So really enjoyed that stuff.
It's interesting, man, because like I'm just sitting here thinking like you played football. I've got another good friend of mine, Sean Henry, who was an excellent team player, one of the best safety people I've worked with,
Mm-hmm.
and he played college ball. Leah Jones is an ACC champion, you know, and even
Yep.
like God, there's a trend there, and it's like these super athletes that also just help carry the solar industry. Like Sean, like, I don't even know if we've talked about it uh, on this podcast or not, man. But like Sean is a pure masochist, bud. He runs he for a period of time ran 100-mile races. You know, just
Wow.
like freak of an athlete, just insane.
It's not
Wow.
smart. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
More power to you, John.
So I mean, it's astounding that like I'm starting to see this trend here now. It's like the best of the best are coming from all these different sports, and it makes so much sense because like the competitive drive and the sense of teamwork. That's the constant that we're seeing here. I love it. I love it. Didn't think I would be putting it together like that.
Well, a
That's
lot of
my
it
little
too is
being an athlete, practice makes perfect. So,
Yep.
you know,
Right.
we were talking to Tyler about how hard he works to get to the next steps that he wants to be at. So, yeah, it has a lot to do with just putting in that time and effort just to get to where you want to be and be the best that you can be.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean,
Yeah,
if you don't pour into your people, right, it's not ever going to come back to you, and it takes effort, right? It takes so much effort to work your 60, 70 hour weeks, and then also be, that person that your the people that work for you can rely upon, right? Like I think that anybody that works for me knows that they can pick up the phone and call me really anytime with any issue, personal or work, and I've got their back. And so, but same as to be expected, right? Like if I needed something from somebody on my team, I know that I can call them and I know that I can rely upon them, right? So, but that's the atmosphere that I, as a leader, love to
that's
establish.
that as far as being a leader, what one thing that was kind of eye opening to me when we started working together on these projects in Pennsylvania was your weekly call, and just all the different departments that you bring together for this weekly Great Cove call. And it's procurement, project management, construction management, quality, owner's engineer, project engineers. I mean, you've got legal involved there, and so it's just the eye-opening part is like there's so many different types of people that have to work together on a weekly basis. And I'm interested to hear from you, like, what does that look like, man? Like, what is your day-to-day looking like as far as all the different teams you have to interact with, like all the different responsibilities of a project manager? Like, how would you summarize what you have to do on a day-to-day?
Uh, well, if it weren't for some level of meditation and mindfulness in the mornings, and of course working out, then I would be losing my mind. But I mean, quite honestly, for me, I'm extremely fortunate to have such a great, team below, right? Project managers, assistant project managers, construction managers, you, Zach, and Cy, and then our safety team. That makes it easy. So the day to day for me is really like, I keep my lists. I know the hot items that need to be touched and pushed. But it's really just checking in, right? I think with my project manager and my assistant project manager, we are constantly all day long talking, right? Teams chat and stuff like that. But my other big point of emphasis, and I almost consider it like the base level of expectation of anybody that's on my team is not just communicate, but over communicate, right? Like, and I say it a lot, but over communicate, and I don't care what it is. That makes my life easier. Yeah, I may get 150 emails a day, but at least I can see everything that's coming, right? And so, you asked about my day to day. It fluctuates,
Sure.
obviously, right? But it I the what I can expect every day is that I'm getting my rundowns from my PM team. I'm getting my rundowns from my CM team. I know I can go to you, Zach, with anything, and just keep pushing forward on the important things that pop up. Really, that's the main driver. You focus on those 5 things and you prioritize. The rest kind of falls into place, right? And it's it's funny too because I feel like so often, you know, solar construction, and I'll get eaten alive for saying this. Solar construction it's an easy form of construction, right? Like it's all the parts and pieces, everything that we do is extremely challenging, right? Getting everything to site is extremely challenging. The quality, the commissioning, but like just building the solar project, that compared to all other high-rise construction, right? Like, uh, I don't even It's much easier. It's just creating that manufacturing line, right? But I think that just knowing the how to push and keep things moving forward is kind of where I aim to be on a daily and weekly basis. But while still trying to kind of keep like a 3 to 6 month out focus, right? Like not get trapped in the day to day portal.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always kind of wonder about because it seems like, from my perspective, I'm in quality mode right now. So all I get to do is bring you problems, like on a regular basis, and then I get to watch you deal with other problems coming from another angle, and it's just like, oh my God, is that all he has to do all day every day is just deal with one fire after another?
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah.
Well, we're professional problem solvers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's and babysitters to a certain extent, but mostly problem solvers.
Yeah.
But no, for me that's the most fun part of like the actual job, right? Is the problem solving. The team building and all of that is just a function of it, but it's all kind of under that problem solving umbrella. And that's I think that anybody that truly loves being in construction can appreciate that, right? It's the rewarding feeling you get solving the problem, right?
Yep.